Travis Wayne Goodsell. Nobody seems to understand the beam and the moat. The beam and the moat is when a person criticizes someone else with a hasty judgment. And thus it's not a sound criticism. You have rushed to judgment, and it's a wrong judgment. And so the beam and the moat tries to warn you not to do that. Because in so doing, you reveal the same and worse fault in yourself. You're projecting. And so in reality, you get exposed as the dumbass. And I've been warning you not to pull a beam and moat on me. But this is too complicated of a doctrine, I guess, for Mormons. And so, with my All Mormons React to LDS Church Big Lie, sure enough, had a person email, or not, email, but comment that I seem so broken, that my search for truth has broken me. What a dumbass. So, can you apply that now to the beam and the moat? Yeah, he's broken. His pursuit of the truth, which he has no clue how to do, resulted in him being broken. He never found the truth. Beam and moat, that which you falsely accuse in another reveals the same and worse fault in yourself. This is why I warn you, don't do this to me. Just leave me alone. If you disagree with one video or one statement from one video, just walk away. Just scroll to another video. Leave. You can't handle my truth. So just leave. And you can't do it, can you? That urge to have a beam in your eye just is so tempting. To reveal and expose yourself. Just so tempting. So yeah, there's another guy who emailed me. He chose not to comment on YouTube. He thought it was important that he share his beam with me through an email. Oh, God. And so, yeah, at 8:40 p.m. last night, he pulls several beams and moats. And so I avoid just coming out and telling you I'm the foremost scholar of Mormonism. Because you're not going to believe. I avoid telling you I'm the foremost anthropologist of the ancient Middle East in the world. Because you're not going to believe. You come to one video, you hear it, and you don't believe. You're not going to do the research to find out. And so you're going to pull a beam and a moat. It's inevitable. But if I don't say it, you're still not going to believe what I say. And that's what this bleep bleep has done. He has purposely diminished my credentials with his beam and moat. He's calling me stupid. That all my education, degrees, publications, experience, decipherments, discoveries are nothing. I'm not the foremost scholar. And yeah, he's belittling me. He thinks he's owned me in saying these things. That's his reaction to the church's big lie, which he never addresses. You're supposed to address the big lie. You didn't. Instead, you pulled a beam and a moat. I warn you, and you don't listen. You don't believe, because you don't know. And so I tell you, ignorance breeds hate. Hate breeds violence. So there's some main topics. I'm not going to do a reaction to his reaction to my reaction. It's stupid. But there are some important things that all of you need to know and understand as fact. When I tell you that Christianity is anti-Semitic, you need to understand it. Because if you pull a beam and a moat, that makes you the bad guy. Constantine creating Christianity means there is no pre-Christianity. Adam being said to be the first man means there are no pre-Adamites. The invention of the tennis shoe means there are no tennis shoes prior to the invention of the tennis shoe. Do I need to give you more examples, or can you figure it out? There was no Christianity before Christianity. Yes, the Greek word Christian and Christianity was used prior to Constantine, because it has a translation in English. And guess what? All the Roman emperors were Christ. And so, yes, talking about their coronation, you're going to see the word Christ in its various forms. Christen, for example, to anoint. The Greeks, yeah, Christ, it's a Greek word. So all of the Greek kings are Christs. But they are not Roman Emperor Constantine's creation of Christianity, which did away with that definition. Created a whole new definition of what it means to be the Christ. The Jews, likewise, were Christian. But in our English, and notice I don't try to tell you the biblical Hebrew phonetic pronunciation of Messiah. I just say Messiah. Now it is a little condescending, but I know my audience. I'm not speaking to a group of scholars in Hebrew. And so I'm not trying to present myself as superior to you. So I just say Messiah because that's what you know and understand. But if you knew me, you'd know, I'd know of the biblical Hebrew pronunciation of Messiah. And that I can't really pronunciate it because it's the I have trouble with those phonetics. But then you'd also know that because I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew, that I have an understanding that modern scholarship does not know. Because I deciphered Paleo-Hebrew. They didn't. And so I share with you my knowledge of Paleo-Hebrew, trying to teach you. And so this bleep thinks he wants to project himself as smarter than me and calls Jesus Yeshua. It's Yahashua, by the way. If you're going to pull this kind of a stunt, you need to put Yahashua. Because it reveals that you're just parroting what somebody else told you to say. Again, beam and moat. So just say Jesus. You don't know. You don't know what you're saying. Or if you want, just put Joshua. Because you're not smart enough to know. You just stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. Because remember, I'm the foremost scholar of Mormonism and anthropology of the ancient Middle East and the world. So just stop it. You're embarrassing yourself. Because this is biblical Hebrew. And it's a specific strain of biblical Hebrew. And you're not smart enough to understand that. So just stop it. See, in 2017, when I was doing videos, I had all these people coming out with all different pronunciations, and they don't know. They were humiliating themselves. But I didn't deal with it at the time, I guess. And it was people from Christianity and from Judaism and other factions. So it wasn't just Mormons back then. But there was no Jesus prior to Constantine creating Jesus. There was the name Jesus. There was the name Joshua. Whether you're Hebrew or Greek. Noticed I used what I told you to use. This is a common name. It's like Jesus in Spanish. But he exposes his stupidity here. The Old Testament was not composed between 600 to 400 BC. No. It wasn't composed as a single book until well after Constantine. See, the Jews were doing it. And the earliest Septuagint that we have, that we're aware of, is around 400, I think. CE, 100 years after Constantine. But the Dead Sea Scrolls, there was no Old Testament. They were all separate books, separate papyrus rolls. They were not one book. But if you don't know and understand that, you're going to pull a dumbass comment to the foremost scholar of anthropology of the ancient Middle East, exposing how dumb you are. See here, he thinks he owns me, and he's just revealing what a putz he is. But he never did answer the question. He's not reacting to the church's big lie, which is that they're claiming to be the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, when it's not. At least, that's not Joseph's church. That's the big lie. For some reason, he assumes that Jesus doesn't exist, therefore, I'm wrong. Joseph Smith says that Jesus Christ is an abomination. Verse 19 of the first vision. That's the big lie, to say that that's Jesus who appeared to Joseph. That's why I used to do video pictures of the first vision and saying, I'm an abomination in my own sight. But he didn't watch those videos, I guess. And so, it's so pathetic. And so he goes on, what religion was Melchizedek? See, he doesn't, and he spells it wrong even. He spells Zadok. And what was his priesthood? Not Jewish. Are you sure? You first have to understand what the Book of Mormon is talking about when it says the learning of the Jews. Because it's not your modern Orthodox Jews. They put it in context for you in the book. It's the pre-captivity Jews. And were they an independent kingdom? Was their king an independent king? Until Zedekiah was put on the throne, making them a tributary king? Did you know that? Do you even know that concept? No? Interesting. Yeah, Nebuchadnezzar is the King of Kings, Lord of Lords, the Christ, the Babylonian. And he came into Jerusalem and put Zedekiah on the throne as a tributary king. That's what he was doing. He had conquered the Assyrians, and so it was necessary to go into the Assyrian territory and beyond to let the people know you now give tribute to him. And so, who was the main King of Kings, Lord of Lords, before Nebuchadnezzar came in and conquered Jerusalem? Because it wasn't Assyria. They only took northern Israel. Away from who? Egypt. And so with Abraham paying tribute to Melchizedek after freeing his brother Lot, conquering the other tributary king who had kidnapped him, who then is Melchizedek. I don't see how this guy even knows, and so it's obvious he hasn't been watching my videos where I help you guys understand that Melchizedek means king and high priest. It's composed of two words, Melech, king, Zadok, high priest. Yeah, it's not the same vowels as Zedek, but he spells it Zadek. And so I just excuse it as a typing error. But still, he exposes himself as a dumbass. He went all the way to do an email, and he can't even spell it right in an email. See, on YouTube, your comments, I'm very made aware that you're using your cell phone. And so I give you allowances for that. But still. So yes, Pharaoh is Melchizedek. And sure enough, lo and behold, the Book of Mormon says, the learning of the Jews and the language of the Egyptians. Because Egypt is whom they gave tribute to. And so yes, King David, he was never an independent king, per se. Because I've been teaching you who he was. He was Pharaoh of the 18th dynasty, David Moses's. But you don't believe. See, I know that he was responding to the All Mormons React to the LDS Church Big Lie because he quotes from it. It's not communism and it's not fascism. It's neither. He didn't even understand my use of it. He got that one wrong too. And so yeah, he thinks he owns me. All your academic, scientific, etc. You have no clue. And so, yeah, there were lots of guys named Jesus during the Roman period. But none of them are him, because he didn't exist until Constantine created him. And so you need to understand, or at least believe me, when I tell you what the learning of the Jews is. The Book of Mormon tells us. You don't believe that either. I keep repeating for you in as many videos as possible. 2 Nephi chapter 25 verse 1. The learning of the Jews is prophecy. They wrote prophecy. And what is their prophecy? Mormon, chapter 8, verse 33. It's a book of revelation of the latter days. And so the stories in Genesis, stories of the Torah, never happened. The Jews themselves tell us. The author of the law tells us, Deuteronomy 18, 15 through 19. They're all prophecies about the man like Moses. That is the Jewish Christ. And his name is Emmanuel, dumbass. You did not comprehend what Matthew, the author of Matthew technically, was trying to teach you. Because Constantine turned it into literal history too. That's why he quotes the Isaiah passage of what the name should be, and then says Jesus. Because of what the meaning of the name Jesus means. But there's also another reason why you don't see stories of Emmanuel. Except in the Egyptian documents. Because he's the Egyptian god. And it has to do with what Joseph Smith is telling us in section 107 regarding the name of the priesthood of Melchizedek, and why we say Melchizedek and not Amun, the Egyptian god, Emmanuel. So yeah, this is sickening. He didn't even bother to listen to President Nelson over the pulpit of conference. He's not obeying him. So he's not following Nelson. And yet he thinks he's supporting the church by belittling me, calling me stupid, that I don't know my field of study. Because he thinks he knows better. And it's clear he doesn't. He doesn't even know. It's humiliating. Dear God. See, he says, if you know about the learning of the Jews, you know how things are treated and behave when the name is put upon them. Yeshua? He has no clue. I suspect you don't know as much as you think you do. Did you get the beam in the moat now? This was humiliating. And clearly he was aggressively attacking me by going to my email instead of making a comment on YouTube. So, got a busy day ahead of me. I am planning on doing a Sign in the Heaven video for Monday, May 1st. But you won't believe me. But I've got things to do this morning. So I don't even know if this video will get out today. We'll see. May get out later on this afternoon.